What is up, everybody? Welcome to this Christmas bonus episode of Sales Stories in Real Life. I'm your host, Alex Bruschi, and this is the show where professional salespeople share their experiences on times that they themselves were sold. Today, we've got a very special guest, very close friend of the show. He is the founder and CEO of Seller.io. They are a sales enablement company that is bridging the gap between sales training and sales recruitment. Welcome to the show, Hamish Stephenson. I hear you had a pretty crazy experience back in the day when you were working with PR. What the heck happened there, Hamish?
Oh, Alex, firstly, how the bloody hell are you? It's good to be here. I'd do anything for you and James. Alex Bruschi, James Parry, you guys are champions. Some of the best guys out there. So thanks for having me on. Thanks for letting me share the stage with you among a bunch of other great people. There are some serious people that have come on this show before me. But anyway, what was the question?
I hear that you had a really crazy experience back in your early days working in PR, and we all want to hear all about it. So why don't you launch into your story whenever you're ready?
So I started in PR very, very young. I think I was about 22, maybe 21. And it was around the time when social media managers were just becoming a thing. Like Facebook had only been around for like 4 or 5 years, and the people were like, oh, you can monetize it. Cool. So I ended up taking this job in PR, and there was a big social media element to it. And about 3 weeks in, they said, hey, do you want to go to LA? And I was like, absolutely. I'm a 22-year-old in Australia, and I was just like, you got to fly me across the world 3 weeks into this role? Yeah, sure, of course, 100%. So I did, and I agreed to the trip. Anyway, we were talking to a couple of different vendors and everything like that, and randomly we got this email, and it got forwarded to me, and it was from a company that was trying to do promotions work within LA, and they somehow found out we were going to be there. And I was just like, this is crazy. This must be fate. I look back on it now, I'm like, no, I think we were getting super retargeted well before retargeting anyone knew what it was. It was like, oh, this is by chance. But anyway, I took this meeting with this company, and they were like, you guys are in PR. You get it. It's all about who you know, not what you know. And I was like, yes. So I immediately was just like, this person, I was just putty in this person's hands after that comment. I was just like, yeah, it's 100%. It's all about publicity. It's all about publicity. Anyway, they then ended up selling me on this massive amount of celebrities that are going to be at this event. And it was kind of like all the events that kind of we go to. And I'm not saying that any of the events that we go to over in the Bay Area like this, quite the opposite, but it was kind of like that vibe. Like everyone will be there. Celebrities will be there. These are the A-listers that have been there in the past. And I remember holding on to that comment. And I think they were saying that like Brad Pitt and like Angelina would be there, and like they were like the it people. Maybe like something like Halle Berry or something like that. And I was just hooked. I was like, this is going to be the best. We're going to have so many opportunities to leverage our brand and our brands. It's going to be crazy. I was just like, it's a PR person's dream. And in the back of my mind, I was just like, do you know what? Like, I'm 22 and going to LA to meet some celebrities. This is great. I was like, I'm going to get my fanboy hat on. It's just going to be brilliant. Anyway, so I get there the day of the event, and I'm looking around, and it's like this like old school conference room in a shitty hotel at the back of downtown LA. And I'm like, well, what have I got myself into? And then they start. It's not like a meeting. It's not like no, sorry. It's not like a mingling event. It's like a meet and greet where they basically walk celebrities through and kind of introduce them to you. And I was like, what, like, what am I supposed to do with these people? Like this, I thought it was like going to be like a cocktail hour. Anyway, so no A-listers. There was like maybe one or two like B, C grade celebrities from The Walking Dead and maybe the main guy from Green Mile. Like the main people there. And I just went, okay. This was an interesting experience. But anyway, that was the main time that I was thinking today when you asked me. I was like, oh, that's probably the main time that I've been oversold to, Alex.
Where to begin? First off, you walked in expecting Brangelina, right? Brad and Angelina. You
Oh
were
yeah,
expecting like Halle Berry,
yeah.
and you ended up getting like extras from The Walking Dead.
Hey,
So
great show.
great show. Nothing
Green
against the
Mile is
show.
also a great movie, but no, wasn't what I was expecting.
Green Mile is a great movie. That's a good shout out. But I mean, there was a lot that had to have gone on to get you so sold on an event that actually was not what it was all hyped up to be. And you said something right at the beginning that actually really caught my attention. We didn't even get to chat about this pre-show. Is right when you took the meeting with that person, they said, hey, you know that PR is about who you know, not what you know, right? And right away, they kind of leveled the playing field of like, we know what you're looking for, right? Like, and that's obviously a very big component of selling. So if you could go back to that moment, like, what's going through your head at that time, right? You're taking this meeting, you're a young guy, you have no idea what to expect, and they hit you with that right on the spot. Like, where do you go from there?
I mean, the brilliant thing about it was like true internet personality and footprint stuff. Like there wasn't a lot of stuff about us accessible online back then.
Right.
So it was so easy to manipulate people into sales conversations because anyone who had just a little bit extra research skills had an edge over everyone else. And like Sam McKenna says, show me you know me, like, which love Sam. And it's true. It like the amount of power you can have in a sales conversation by just doing the bare minimum of research on a person and just kind of really you have this ability to kind of tug at the heartstrings a little bit. And they obviously knew, like they knew I was in PR. They knew the right things to say to a young PR person, and they just went with it. And I bit it.
Well, as a seller, you're continuing the conversation that's already happening in your prospect's mind, right? So they knew that as a young person in PR, you were thinking to yourself, how do I get us in front of celebrities, right? How do I get us to get some notoriety, right? How do I start generating us some PR? And they went right for that and they ran with it. And you even said earlier, you said this stuck with me. They referenced all the A-list celebrities that had previously been there, right? So they also hit you with the social proof, right? So right away, they showed you that they knew you. They hit you with the social proof and you were hooked, right? Like, where did things like, did you ever have a hesitation in your mind ever at any point in that process of, ooh, this could go wrong? Or did they just have you so hooked that you were just totally blindsided with the reality of what was about to happen?
I think there was an element of me being gullible and me being pretty junior and just young. I was just a young guy that just heard some and saw some shiny things and went, you know what, that sounds pretty cool. And it's something where nowadays it's just, there was the amount of research that you could find on these companies back then. Like, it was like pre-review sites. It was pre-Trustpilot. These guys wouldn't have been on G2, but like I think it was pre-Google reviews. Like back then, like I think the most you could actually like review on was like restaurants in your area on Yelp or TripAdvisor, like that kind of thing. So naturally, you took a lot of things at face value with a really strong amount of, you said it, social proof. They put the right images, the right decks in front of me. They said the right things. They knew enough about our company that they were like, yeah, do you know what? Okay, cool. Like, yeah, you get it. And there was enough about them online to know that it wasn't a fake business. So when they put in front of you images of A-listers, then you go, okay, cool. Like that's the guarantee, and where that's the return on investment, the ROI.
It's like pre-Firefest before Firefest happened. But no, let's actually pull some positive takeaways out of this, because that's obviously not how selling is today. There's G2, there's Trustpilot, there's all of these sites. So something like this could not happen today. And we've actually not yet had, well, actually, at the time of this airing, Sam's episode is not live yet, but at the time of your airing, Sam's episode will be live.
Yep.
Sam went really deep into LinkedIn Sales Navigator and gave some great tips around that. So let's leave that to the side. Let's say Sales Nav aside, what would be some tips that you would give to people about doing research on accounts? Because this is an area where no matter how often people talk about it, I still feel like it's underrated and it's underserved. And as budgets keep tightening, right, as phone connect rates keep dipping and email spam trackers get better and better and better, like your message needs to be on point, and your message can't be on point without doing the proper research. So what would be some tips that you would give as far as what should you be looking for when you're researching an account? Where would you look for something like this? Where would you go with that?
Oh, it's so simple. And if I knew this skill back then, I probably would have actually been able to get around it. But and this is such an old school technique, but I just like Boolean searching. It's so many people don't know how to do it, or just aren't aware of it. And you can find out so much about people and companies on the internet by just changing a few things around. Like I remember it was like a couple of months ago, there was this company that was trying to like scam me like over email, and it ended up like I was reading it and I was like, this definitely sounds like multi-level marketing. But like they hide it so well. They hide it so well, and like behind these masks. But in the end, it's like with some smart Boolean searching, you can fix it. So that's one way. It's LinkedIn Sales Nav aside. Like, are you asking how do I find information on people, how to not get?
So I'll throw an example at you. Let's say, I have a prospect and, I'm selling them some sort of service that's related to their job, whether it's, you're selling technology to a CTO, whether you're selling IT services to a director of IT, whatever it may be. Let's say, you know their name, you know their title, so you know what they care about. How would you go about researching to craft a message to someone like that?
So I think it's more about what you don't do. Now, everyone's got stuff on them online, like everyone. And if they don't, then you're just going to have to take a stab in the dark and just find whatever you can. It's usually stuff on their company, but like almost 95% of people have a bit of a digital footprint, and you can find some really, really fun stuff. to put into messaging and to put into vidyards, to put into anything you want. It's just about using your creativity and what you've got in front of you, but at the same time, tying it back in a way that isn't weird and isn't creepy. Now, I did a post on it a couple of weeks ago, and I think you engaged on it, but it's so easy to be weird in prospecting. If you like, with the amount you can find out something, like stalking someone's Instagram back like 2 years and like taking a photo that they had on their honeymoon and be like, how was the pasta? Like, most people are probably going to find it pretty weird. I won't, because I've got a bit of a sense of humor, but so many people are going to find it weird. It's just like, don't send a photo of someone with them and their dad. Like, I know like the corporate bro Ross did like a reenactment of one the other day, and this guy was like, why are you sending a photo of me and my dad? Like, my dad passed 2 years ago. Like, there are so many ways just to tick people off in prospecting if you don't know them, and it can go really badly. So whatever you find about them, you have to be able to relevantly tie it back in to what they're doing. And I guess what this company did back then was they had just like the slightest a bit of information on me and our company, and they were like, they just went down that PR route. They were like, I don't think they was even that smart what they did. I think it's just, do you know what? We're going to roll the dice with this guy. He's probably going to react well to that. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. Yep. For everyone listening on Spotify, it was just me like putting my finger in the air.
Testing the winds.
Yes. Just seeing if it hits. So naturally, that's nowadays, if you're gonna really research someone, which everyone does in sales, just don't be weird, and make sure that if you're gonna tie it back to the product, then be smart about it. And because it can be really powerful when you're smart. It can be really powerful when you use humor and intellect in your prospecting, because people will give it a giggle.
It's a pattern interrupt, man. They're used to the same corporate mumbo jumbo in their inbox and in their, in their phone, in their cold calls that they get. And all of a sudden you get somebody that hits you with something witty. And to your point, it relevantly ties into what you're talking about. Relevance is everything, right? Like you could spell my name wrong in an email, but if you're trying to sell me a litter of golden retrievers, like you could call me the wrong name, right? But like if you hit me with that, like I'll buy. So ultimately, as long as you're getting across a relevant message, you're making progress. And so to tug on that a little bit more, we obviously have a lot of B2B sellers that are listening right now.
Yeah.
What would be the biggest takeaway that you would give for them? It doesn't have to be research based, doesn't have to necessarily even be based on your story. Like hit us with an awesome tip that someone could actually take in and literally get better at their job tomorrow.
Never, ever, ever make an assumption about anything. You can look at someone's LinkedIn profile and you're like, oh, I can't cold call that person because they look like they're going to chew me out. Like most of the time they're not. At the same time, it also works the other way. Like you cannot be assumptive that, like today I got an email from a lead generation service, and they were like, they said in their second email of 3 emails in 7 days, I got their second email, they're like, well, we know you're probably struggling with sales. And I was like, oh, wow. Am I struggling with sales?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Because naturally you're just going to tick people off. People are just going to be immediately defensive. So dropping assumptions is really important, but it's not to be confused with taking risks. And you can take intelligent risks in a way that, do you know what? If you're going to get chewed out, even if you're going to get chewed out, it's not going to damage your brand. It's not going to damage your career or anything. Like, today I sent a vidyard to a CEO of a very, very large company on the East Coast. And like, we're talking like $1 billion revenue a year company. Anyway, he's got a cover band. So I acquired one of his cover band's t-shirts and sent him a vidyard wearing that. And I just got a ha 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 ha. That's great. Forwarding you to marketing. Like, why would anyone get upset about that? It doesn't matter if you're a CEO. Like, if you're literally going to the effort to wear a CEO's cover band shirt, then naturally they're probably going to be like, do you know what? Yeah, all right. I'm biting on that. It doesn't even matter really what the rest of the content is. If you're actually saying, do you know what? Here's your band, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, we do this. Do you know what? That's probably relevant enough to take a meeting. Like, we definitely need that problem solved. But if you're giving them a solution to a problem that everyone else is offering and you're not willing to stand out, then I think that's where most people, especially in the prospecting side of the world, are going to struggle.
What you did there is absolutely brilliant and ties back into what we were talking about earlier about the research, where you could have been creepy about it, right? You could have said, hey, here's this video that I found of you playing with your cover band, right? Then the guy's like, what the heck? But instead,
yes,
took the other angle, right? And you said, hey, I see this guy's in a cover band, right? Let me go and buy one of the shirts and wear it in the video. And that doesn't come off as creepy at all, right? It literally, to the email reply that you got, is going to make them laugh. So I really love that takeaway from earlier of like, get deep in your research, but don't deliver it in a creepy fashion, right? Deliver it in a way that's flattering, right? Deliver it in a way that's humorous, deliver it in a way that's entertaining, that's relevant.
And you said it, humorous and entertaining without being offensive and without being creepy. There's always a line. And if in your head you're thinking, do you know what, this might be a bad idea? It's most often a bad idea. Or the other one, I used to like, I naturally now I probably do it a little bit less. I've got a bit of experience in the humorous prospecting realm, but back when I was a junior and I was like 25 and I was trying to figure out ways to be a little bit different. I was like, would my mum be offended if she saw me writing this to someone? Or would my girlfriend think that I was a bit of a tosser? Or I just like, how would I feel if this got like posted around the office? And if the answer is anything but, oh, that's a bit lame. If it's anything more than that, then you probably don't do it.
That's a really, really good measuring stick too. I really, really had to work hard not to laugh there, but obviously laughed a couple times. So you clearly got the humor piece down. Hamish, this has been freaking amazing. I still can't stop laughing. Why don't you, before we hop off here, take a second and give yourself a plug. Obviously, you just launched your new startup at the time of recording. By the time it drops, maybe it'll be a couple more weeks later. But obviously, you got a lot up your sleeve. Tell us what you're working on. Give us a plug.
Yeah, cool. So Seller.io is bridging the gap between sales training and sales recruitment. The recruitment industry and the sales training industry have never really quite intersected before, especially in like the revenue side of things. So we figured out a way, especially at a time when a lot of revenue teams are like 60% at quota and about 50% of revenue teams aren't getting any formal training. So we're combining the two to really bring those stats up, getting close to the 90% mark. But either way, if anyone out there is a founder looking for go-to-market strategy, a sales leader who needs some coaching for their team, or just an individual looking for a bit of an ear for some sales training, hit us up. We're professionals in the space.
You heard it here first, folks. Seller.io. That is as it's spelled on Hamish's board. There is no second E in the seller. SELR.io. Go check them out for all of your enablement and training needs. Hamish, this has been amazing. Sales Stories in Real Life, fam. Have a Merry Christmas for all who celebrate. Have a happy holiday for all those that do not celebrate. Hamish, this has been great, man. Thank you again. It was a blast.
No worries, Alex. And yeah, everyone eat more Vegemite. It's good on toast with some butter.
You heard it here first, folks. Have a great holidays.
Toast, butter. See you guys.